Welcome to Spanish Grand Prix. This is the preview of the Spanish Grand Prix for 2024. And we have big contenders coming out of Canada Grand Prix, coming to the triple header, the Spanish Grand Prix, Austrian Grand Prix, and the British Grand Prix in Silverstone, England. Now, the funny thing is there are some little breaking news before coming into this Grand Prix. Number one, it looks like the Haas team might prefer Esteban Ocon to drive alongside Oliver Biermann. And why do I think they might prefer him? Because they need an experienced point scorer, in which they had in Nico Hülkenberg. Unfortunately, Nico Hülkenberg will be moving to Audi next year. Now, Nico Hülkenberg moving to Audi next year, I thought Esteban Ocon would be a better fix for Audi next year. But from what I'm looking at, it might be difficult to deal with Esteban Ocon alongside Nico Hülkenberg. It might be a difficult ask for the team to deal with. So I think Haas might prefer him. Also, Alpine might be thinking of ditching the Renault engine going into 2026, possibly because the Renault engine has not really been proven worthy recently, especially this year, to be a competitor. There was a point in time early this year that the car was overweight, but they've been complaining about lack of performance and lack of power from the engine since last year. So who would they be going to next? Would they be going to Mercedes, RB, or Ferrari? Possibly the new engine maker in town, Audi. Who would they be partnering with? We don't know yet. From the news we are seeing, they might be ditching the Renault powertrain. And we know the Renault powertrain had bought the Enstone team. This is game of numbers, game of victory, game of wins. So they need a powerful engine to compete. So what would they be doing with the resurgence of McLaren in F1, Aston Martin last year, and probably RB this year? They might be thinking of looking for a better engine to stay in the competition. Let's see if that is true and who they will be going in with to have a good partnership with. Also, little will I say this is not a bad news, but I think it's a bad news for Formula One, because Kimi Antonelli might probably be granted an access into F1 probably this year. With some major events happening, the F1 are looking at breaking the rules to bring Kimi Antonelli in to race before he turns 18, and they might be reducing the age because of him to make it age 17, because he's still 17 plus he should be 18 by August 25. And if they need him to race before that time, I think that might be a good ask for them. But for me, I think if they're breaking that rule and they cannot bring 11 team or 12 team in to make it more competitive, to make it more bulky experience, if they are bringing 12 teams or 11 teams in, it can bring up the issue of point system, in which they can change the point system. I think FIA should look into that, because they are looking into this. They're not looking into how to make more money, especially for the American teams and others. I think it is not speaking well of FIA and F1. The FIA has agreed, but the F1 as a whole has not agreed. I think it's not speaking well of them. What they should be looking at is how they can be profitable. What team might bring in more investors to make the cake and the slice bigger. The more the merrier, I think. Also, Ferrari have decided to bring in their upgrades in Spain. They were hoping to bring the upgrades in Silverstone, but I think with the recent trend and with the recent event in Canada, they might bring in the upgrade in Spain, because they need a significant performance boost for the car, especially coming into Spain, so that they can project and learn forward through the performance boost they might be having. And also knowing RB might not be able to keep upgrading, and with the recent turn of events on RB through Sergio Perez and changing of engines for Max Verstappen and Sergio Perez also, so they might not be able to improve on what they have. So they are also have to quickly bring up some things so they can learn and know what to bring in next. So that's why I think they are bringing it on. But also I think Ferrari need to look into their power issue, the power issue they had in the last race. They need to look into the power issue and see how they can sort that out and solve these problems, because if they don't solve it, it might be issues that would go against them or bring them down in the following or possible coming races. So I think Ferrari needs to look into their power problem, get to the root of it, so they don't have such issues. And I think going into next year, bringing Lewis Hamilton in, if they've not sorted this issue out, it's going to be a big issue for them to solve. So I think they need to really deal with it as against next year. Also, with the recent event culminating the Mercedes and the Red Bull personal issues, I think there are more to say for these teams, in which they need to look for ways to deal with their internal problems and also look for ways to settle their score, so it doesn't project or speak ill outside or make them look so bad. I think they need to deal with that. Also, there have been complaints by the RB team, especially Chris Horner, about the legality of the front wings of the Mercedes, especially McLaren and Ferrari. But they started that illegality because their own front wing since last year had been compromised. It has been moving on the straight, and they are complaining about the same situation or the same scenario with the Mercedes front wing that they just brought and also the Ferrari and McLaren. So I think number one, RB needs to look into their own eyes and remove the dirt there before they start removing the dirt on other people's eyes. And I think F1 should look seriously into this because all these front wings and rear wings have passed the legality test. So if there's any discrepancies in which these teams are playing, they should stop it for everybody, not giving advantage to one and not to other. Because if Red Bull have been using it since last year and they now deem it's not legal for another team to use it because it's a championship advantage over them, I think Red Bull is wrong and F1 should deal with it. Now to Spanish Grand Prix itself, the race has been held 64 times. We're talking about the Circuit de Barcelona, Catalunya. The last one was held last year. It's one of the oldest in the world contested races. It was first held in 1913 and most wins we have Michael Schumacher and Lewis Hamilton. For most constructor wins we have Ferrari winning 12 and the most driver wins we have in Michael Schumacher and Lewis Hamilton sharing the spoil of 6. The race has 14 turns. It's going to be a 66 lap race with the circuit length spanning 4.657 kilometers. That's about 2.894 miles and the race length will be a 307.236 kilometers. That's a 190.908 miles. And last year we had the pole position Max Verstappen and he won the race. Last year Max Verstappen won about 94% of the races. Wow. And coming in second we had Lewis Hamilton 24 seconds behind the winner Max Verstappen and George Russell 32 seconds behind the winner. Meanwhile, Max Verstappen took the fastest lap of the race last year and also the fastest lap of the race last year seems to also be the current lap record of 1 minute 16 seconds 3:30 tenths. That is wonderful. And to the weather, from Friday to Sunday is going to be a beautiful weather, though there will be clouds and there will be winds, but it's going to be sunny all through, dry circuit, no rain. I can tell you that, no rain. So it's going to be very, very interesting. With the kind of competition we've seen in the last 3 races, it's going to be more competitive and F1 is getting more enjoyable now. We can see a lot of competitions, we can see a lot of wake-up calls, and the RB team are now on their toes because, like I said, we need somebody to keep them on their toes so they can know that this is no play, this is real racing. We need to enjoy races like we should enjoy. Looking at the Pirelli data, the tires are going to be having the C1 as the hard tire and the C2 as the medium tire, C3 as the soft tires. The weather forecast, Friday we are going to be having a 24-degree, no rain. Saturday 25-degree, no rain, and 24-degree on Sunday, no rain. And we are going to be having the FP1 on Friday, FP2 on Friday, no sprint race. Saturday FP3 and qualifying on Saturday. Sunday the main race. Then Pirelli data traction is a medium traction track, 3/5 track. Braking, huge braking track, 4/5. Lateral track, beautiful long straight with about 2 to 3 DRS zones, I think. High tire stress, that's why we're having the hard tires as a C1 tire because the tires are going to be stressed. And the asphalt grip is 4/5. Tire stress 4/5. Asphalt abrasion 3/5. The downforce level is high, the 4/5. The wings they will be bringing will be different. They'll be having a high downforce wings and some of the teams will be carrying more wings than the others. And possibly the FIA are already looking into the rear wings and the legality of the rear wings because some teams do have their rear wings more open than the rest. So the FIA are looking into that. For selected sessions, we have the tickets ranging from Friday to Saturday. We're having the 3,650 euros ticket to 4,235 euros ticket for Fridays to Sunday in good places. And we can have some places like the Rooftop Lounge for 4,235 euros, Panorama Village 3,650 euros. The Grandstand J is sold out, general admission sold out, Grandstand Main sold out. Wow. People are loving F1 more because F1 is getting more and more interesting. We have the Saturday Sunday ticket, just 2 days going for as low as 3,600 euros, and we have a day ticket for Saturday for about 1,195 euros. Sunday's ticket, depending on where you will want to be, you can have a 3,000 euros ticket. That's very interesting. Also, I want to give you the lowdown of some past races so you can know how they fared in the past races in Spain. Also, to keep you abreast, I think F1 should look into the group group that said they want to have a little protest during the Austrian Grand Prix. We still have Austrian Grand Prix in the next 2 weeks. They should look into it, because in Germany last year for the Formula E, there was a group that protested and disrupted the race, so that they won't disrupt the race, and they can look at how they can build the sustainability, and whatever the group is clamoring for, they can build it and see how they can work with the group, so they have a favorable race on Sunday in Austria. So I think they should look into that to make things more interesting. So let me quickly go into that. To the race in 2022, we had Charles Leclerc taking the pole after he spun out during the Q3 on a turn, and he lost the car about 5 minutes into the Q3, and he came back to take the pole with Max Verstappen coming second beside him. The Mercedes in 2022, I think the Mercedes performed well, better, and they were well performing in 2020 with that podless car than 2023 and than this year. Though they are moving up the pecking order in 2024, but they still look a little bit uninspirational. And if you look at the car in 2022, the cars are well slower, and I'm even afraid of the 2026 cars when they come out, because they want the cars to be a little bit slower and the straight line speed to be lesser than we've had before. And this could not look really like Formula One if we are going down this route. In 2022, like I was saying, Carlos Sainz qualified third, George Russell fourth, Sergio Perez fifth, Lewis Hamilton sixth, and on. Mick Schumacher had his first Q3 qualifying on a circuit that his father has won 6 times for the first time in his career. And I think that was the last time in his career. Because at the end of the season, he left us to become the reserve driver for Mercedes. Although Mercedes don't have a plan for him, but as a German, they just took him in. I am sure Toto Wolff is not managing him, but he's just taking him under his guidance so as to guide him through, because he's a German and out of respect for his father. And I think that's the only reason why they're taking him in. But in the main race, Ferrari happened to Ferrari again. Charles Leclerc lost his engine during the race while he was leading about 8 seconds ahead, while Max Verstappen and Carlos Sainz were spinning up and down. Unfortunately, the spin off Max Verstappen came back to help him to win the race. He won the race comfortably from his teammate 13 seconds ahead, while Lewis Hamilton came from a turn 2 incident with Kevin Magnussen. That has always been Kevin Magnussen, and knocked themselves out. He had to change his front wings, that damage on his car, coming in from 19th to come 5th. At the point in the race, he was 4th, but Mercedes also happened to Mercedes. Also, for the last 4 laps of the race, he had to do lift and coast for him to end the race so that he can be in point. That was how Carlos Sainz that he overtook on lap 63 came back to overtake him, and that was how the race ended, with Max Verstappen winning in 2022. That was when the regulation changed. In 2023, we have Max Verstappen taking pole with a time of 1 minute 12 seconds. 2022, we have a time of 1 minute 18 seconds. That's how slow it was. Carlos Sainz coming second 2023, Lando Norris third, Pierre Gasly fourth, Lewis Hamilton fifth, Lance Stroll outqualified his teammate sixth, Esteban Ocon, Nico Hülkenberg, Fernando Alonso, and Piastri. We have Charles Leclerc out in Q1, while George Russell out in Q2 for the qualifying in 2023. And Max Verstappen won the race comfortably, about 24 seconds ahead of Lewis Hamilton, coming second, while George Russell came third. And Charles Leclerc ended the race in 12th position, one of his worst races, while Carlos Sainz ended the race 5th. And that still shows the power deficiency of Ferrari in those years. I think they've improved on their engine, but in Canada, they still have the engine issues, in which spoil their chances of having good points in the race in Canada. Charles Leclerc out of the race due to engine concerns, and that was one of the worst races also for him. After 2023 race, he had the worst race again 2024 in Canada, and we hope this race will be a I know it's going to be a very interesting one, with a lot of teams coming up to show how good they've become and to see how they can challenge the Red Bull on the track. And I can't wait for this weekend. It's going to be mind-blowing. We see in FP1, FP2, watch out. I love you guys. You guys are one of the best fans I have. Bye. Cheers.